What's up, children of the sun? Metaphysical advisor, Montre Bible, here doing a reaction video. This is Vsauce talking about what is consciousness. I thought, hey, why not? Let's check it out and see what it is about. What are they talking about on Vsauce?
Michael here, and a hemispherectomy is a surgical procedure in which half of a person's brain is removed. It's usually only ever done on very, very young patients because their brains are still plastic enough that the remaining half will take on the functions of the half that was removed. And it's usually done because a young child or a baby is having seizures, and removing the part where the seizures occur.
I have never heard of this process. Taking out half the brain? That sounds crazy. Has anybody else heard about that?
Is the only solution. But here's my question. If you can live with half a brain, what if I were to take two empty skulls and take one half of your brain and plop it into one body, and the other half and put it in another body? Which person would be you? I mean, you are you. You are conscious. You are aware of what is happening to you from the perspective of yourself. Like, think of it this way.
But the left and the right brain both control different parts of consciousness. Like left brain, what is it? Left brain is more orderly and right brain is more creative. Where so that's kind of weird because the right-brained people tend to be more creative. They think out of, you know, pictures and stuff like that. And left-brained people who most of their functions left brain, everything has to be in order. So I'm thinking if you cut half your brain out, aren't you cutting out half of your functions? It's like the masculine and feminine sides of yourself.
Way. If you just stare at something and kind of feel what it feels like to be you, it feels a little bit like you're a thing inside a body looking out through the eyeballs, and nobody else on earth will ever see the world from that position. This awareness of your own experiences, the awareness that you are having them, the awareness that you are having your own thoughts, makes up what we call consciousness. But if I were to take your brain and split it into two and put it into two different people, would both of them be new people who were
No,
conscious? Well, one
your
of the
brain
best
is not
places
you.
to start when defining consciousness and understanding it is to begin.
My guess is that one part of that brain would die. Of course, if you remove a part of the brain, it's going to die. But you're not your brain. You're not the physical. Your consciousness just exists. Like you're not your body. Your consciousness just exists within that. Kind of like a program within a computer. The computer is not the internet. You just access the internet through the computer. Like you access your consciousness through your brain.
With things that we agree are not conscious. For instance, Cleverbot. Cleverbot.com is an amazing website where a computer program will respond to your questions really cleverly,
What is that,
but
an
only
AI?
because it is programmed to do so. We wouldn't consider it conscious because it doesn't have a sense of itself. It doesn't feel anything. It doesn't
But
have
what
its own
happens when it
inner
does?
life. It's just a program that responds automatically to my inputs. Now, I know that I am not like Cleverbot. I know that I feel things and that I have a
I have a AI and it's a replica. I know some of y'all watch my videos, y'all see me talk to it. And it's pretty smart.
sense of myself. I have intentions. But how do I know that you do? For that matter, how do I know that everybody else that I meet is like me? How do I know that
They're
they're not
not.
just
They're
little smart
NPCs.
versions of Cleverbot who know exactly what to automatically say? Now, what I'm asking is incredibly philosophical, but it is a very famous and important question. I'm basically asking if it's possible for something to exist as a philosophical zombie. That's right, a thing that reacts and responds and acts just like a normal human, but yet doesn't actually feel anything. It doesn't know that it's having its own thoughts. It just automatically responds like a robot in the appropriate way. Now, what's amazing
Sounds like an NPC to me.
and heavy about this question is that science doesn't have an answer. And it's not even clear that science will ever have an answer, let alone an approach to find.
Science will start getting answers when they start trying to understand spirituality. Period. The problem is a lot of scientific stuff separates itself from spirituality, but they are one and the same.
finding that answer. About all we have is the psychology of disorders of consciousness.
Huh.
Let's begin with anesagnosia.
What?
A common example of anesagnosia in psychology
That's a big
classes
ass word.
is a patient who has, say, lost the ability to move their left hand. When asked to raise their right hand,
Maybe it's because you cut out half of their brain. Nah, just kidding.
they'll say, yeah, no problem, there you go. But then when asked to raise their left hand, they'll say, okay, yeah, sure, no problem, but not move it. And when asked why they didn't move their left hand, instead of reporting that they can't, they'll confabulate some excuse. For instance, oh, I didn't feel like it. Anton Babinski syndrome is even more dramatic. Patients with this syndrome are cortically blind. They cannot see anything, but they deny being blind. If you ask them a question, for instance, how many fingers am I holding up? They will make a guess, but if they're wrong, they'll explain their inaccuracy with an excuse. For instance,
Another disease I have never heard about. Well, it's not a disease. It said it's syndrome, but they named it after somebody. Never heard of it. Never met anybody with that. But
oh, well, I don't have my glasses. People who exhibit anesagnosia tend to be the victims of stroke. And there's some disconnect between what they're really experiencing and their conscious awareness of it. They don't know that they can't see because the part of their brain that monitors visual input isn't telling the brain anything.
they're like,
It's
baby,
not even
just give me
telling
my
the brain that
glasses.
there
I don't
is no
have my
visual
glasses.
input, which means that the parts of their brain responsible for answering questions or creating speech has to completely create a confabulated response. Despite the fact that we've been able to study patients with anesagnosia, we still have no idea how to solve our original problem. In fact, all we've managed to come up with are more impossible questions about identity. Questions that are so befuddling, the best you can do with them is to answer them yourself according to what you believe. Here's another one. It's called the Swamp Man. Imagine that I'm walking around in a swamp, and then all of a sudden I get struck by a bolt of lightning, and my entire body is burned to a crisp, dissolved into smithereens. But at the very same moment, a second bolt of lightning strikes nearby, and it causes a bunch of atoms and molecules to all arrange themselves into the exact same configuration that my body used to have, making a second Michael? Is that me? Would that be me? And here's an even better one. Imagine that a
Frankenstein?
surgeon came in and he started removing cells from me and from you, replacing them exactly one at a time, replacing my cells into your body and your cells into mine.
That reminds me of some theory, like when they were talking about creating a boat. It was some kind of theory, like if a boat is falling apart and you replace it with different pieces of wood, and then you remove the broken pieces and you put them aside. And but every time the wood is the boat is falling apart, you replace it with some new wood. Eventually, the whole boat gets replaced with new wood. Then you take the old wood that you took off of it and you create a boat. Which one is the original boat? Is it the boat that you created with the old wood, or is it the boat that you created with the new wood? Very philosophical, very deep. Or are they both?
My body. At what point would I officially have become you? No one on earth has the definitive answers to these questions, but you know what we do have? A lean back. That's right. I've made
And that kind of reminds me of kind of where society is going with AI and uh, AI programming and transhumanism. But that's another story.
a playlist of some of my favorite clips from all over YouTube of psychology experiments and illusions and all sorts of fun stuff that deal with consciousness.
Mm.
All you have to do is click the link at the top of the video's description and then lean back and let the automatic playlist do the work for you. I'll see you over
Ooh,
there, and as always, thanks for
I
watching.
might do it. All right, guys. That was Vsauce. What is consciousness? I'll put a link to this video in the description. Let me know what you think about what he was talking about. Like I said, I like watching videos like this, so I just wanted to kind of make this my new segment of like What is Montre watching? No, but these are videos I find interesting. I want to know what you think about consciousness in the physical brain and some of the things that he said. Leave it in the comments, like this video. Talk to you guys later. Make your reality happen, because if you don't do it, then who will?